The Canon's Yeoman. The Canon's Yeoman's tale begins when two men ride up to the traveling pilgrims, one man riding on an aged gray horse that was sweating profusely, and the other riding a horse just as sweaty and looked as if it could go on no longer. The first man, the Canon, was dressed in black clothes with a white surplice underneath, and in his hood he had a huge burdock leaf to keep the sun and sweat off of his head. As the man approaches the travelers, he greets them warmly and says that he has been hoping to join them. The host then asks the man if he can tell them all a tale. The Canon's Yeoman responds by saying that, "Believe me, if you knew him as well as I do, you would marvel how cleverly and well he can work in various ways. And he is a man of great discretion. He brags that his master can turn all this ground on which we are riding, from here to Canterbury, completely upside down, and pave it all with silver and gold." The host is quite amazed, but then asks why, if the Canon is so important, does he care so little for his honor, and dresses so sloppily? Surely he can afford to buy nicer clothes. The Yeoman responds, he will never prosper because he is wise, but misuses his abilities. But it is his secret, and he must not speak of it. The host then asks where the Canon and his Yeoman live. The Yeoman tells the host that they live in the outskirts of town. They lurk in corners and blind alleys where robbers and thieves huddle. The host persists to ask another question. He asks the Yeoman why his face is so discolored. The Yeoman tells him that he is so accustomed to blowing the fire that it has changed his complexion. He is too busy studying the transmutation of metals to notice. His Canon is an alchemist. The Yeoman then reveals they borrow gold from many people, promising them they can double their amount, but always fail. As the Yeoman was talking, the Canon approached him and heard everything he was saying. The Canon orders his Yeoman to stop slandering him in their company and to stop revealing his secrets. The Yeoman says that he does not care anymore for the Canon. Once the Canon realizes that he will reveal his secrets, he flees away in grief and shame. The Canon's Yeoman's Tale, Part 1. The Yeoman first tells his own story of his life with the Canon. The Yeoman has lived with his Canon for 7 years, and he is no better off. He has borrowed so much gold in his life he cannot live long enough to pay all back. He lost all that he owns and must now wear a stocking on his head. His complexion is now pale and leaden. When they are practicing their elvish crafts, he blows the fire with all his might. In their pots they mix together many metals and silver, burnt bones, salt and pepper, and sealing it shut. They have no luck with any of their experiments. All of their hope and all of their money invested is lost to the devil. The Yeoman says that whoever practices this craft will not prosper. They have invested so much time and money into searching for the philosopher's stone. He blames God for their hope, and in the end they were not rewarded. The Yeoman then states that his master is very cunning at his work. Before the pot is placed in the fire, his master, and only him, would treat the metals with specific amounts of ingredients. But he would often run into trouble. The pot would sometimes break and shatter into pieces, and all would be lost. The pieces were very sharp and would burst through the walls, bury themselves in the ground, and shoot up to the roof. When the pot breaks, every man feels cheated. The Canon would just throw away the metals and waste them, even though someone would point out that there was some that was still good. The Yeoman points out that no matter what the Canon does, he cannot get it right. The Yeoman claims that nothing is what it seems. Apples which look nice are not good. Men that seem the wisest are the most foolish, and the man who seems most trustworthy is a thief. The Canon's Yeoman's Tale, Part 2. The Yeoman begins a tale of a second Canon, that he does not know, but who is also an alchemist. The Canon goes to a priest and asks to borrow some gold, promising to return it after 3 days, and if he doesn't, then he should be hanged. He returns the gold 3 days later, thus convincing the priest that he is a man who can be trusted. To thank the priest, the Canon offers to show him how he can work with philosophy. The Canon asks the priest to supply him with 3 ounces of quicksilver, which he does. The Canon offers to transform the quicksilver into real silver, and while the priest is distracted, he performs a series of tricks that involves the use of silver filings, wax, and trick of the hand to give the impression that solid silver has been produced. Another one of his tricks involves the transformation of copper into silver, performed by switching the copper for silver while the priest is not looking yet again. The priest is so impressed that he asks the Canon for the recipe, and is told that it will cost him 40 pounds. The canon agrees to share the secret, but swears the priest to absolute secrecy on his part. The priest pays the canon happily. The recipe is fake, and the canon flees from the scene as the priest realizes that he has been fooled. The Yeoman points out the moral of the story, which is that the promise of riches will lead gullible people into losing their money. Hustling has been around for centuries and can relate to any age.